Hello guys, and welcome to another video. And in this one, we're going to be taking a look at another new support gem that's coming to Path of Exile in the upcoming Trial of the Ancestors League. And that's the Flamewood support gem. Once again, we don't have the gem stats, and while we're on that topic, I mean, where are the teasers? There's a whole bunch of support gems and Atlas keystones that we don't know about yet. I really thought we would have had some teasers by now. Anyway, let's hear what Chris had to say about the Flamewood support during the Trial of the Ancestors reveal at ExileCon.
The Flamewood support gem causes totems to trigger projectile mortars at enemies that hit them. This is particularly synergistic with totems that can taunt enemies, such as Decoy Totem, or one of the new Chieftain Ascendancy skills that I might talk about shortly.
So this is a support gem that's specific to totems, and it will make supported totems fire mortars at enemies that hit them. We don't know yet whether this will be pure fire damage or whether it's going to be physical damage converted to fire damage, or even if it will have a ignite component to it as well. But what we do know is that this support gem would essentially create reactive damage. That's in the sense that the damage is only created as a result of monsters hitting the totem, rather than proactively just hitting monsters. And this immediately makes the support a little bit problematic, I think, for single target. Things like map bosses and tanky rares like essence mobs. Because if there's a limited number of monsters or no other monsters nearby to hit the totem, you're relying on the monster hitting the totem to fire mortars and deal damage. So a single target that's tanky and slow, perhaps it has slow attack speed for example, well, it's going to be hitting the totem slowly and causing a limited amount of mortars to fire. So I think in this way, this support is kind of a little bit of a trap, in the sense that the tempting thing to do will be to build around a totem, let's say Decoy Totem, and then scale totem life and use this Flamewood support gem in combination with something like the Torch Oak Step unique boots, which make totems reflect 100% of their maximum life as fire damage to nearby enemies when hit. So there's synergy there where you're kind of stacking multiple damage sources when the totems are being hit by mobs. But I think that even though this setup is tempting, it's going to be a little bit of a bait. For general mapping, it will probably be fine for the most part. You're likely to be slowed down a little bit when you encounter a tanky rare that's on its own. But I think having all of the damage in the build being reliant on reactive damage rather than proactive is going to be sometimes a bit of a hindrance when you're just kind of waiting for those slow tanky rares or map bosses to hit your totems. Now, this may not be much of a problem if the Flamewood support gem has some kind of ignite component, or if you can scale it well with ignite, as this will limit your reliance on the monsters hitting the totem, as they'll only need to hit it once every ignite window. But I think realistically, the better option for this new support gem is actually going to be using it on a spell totem, where you stack the support gems to both affect the main ability and the Flamewood mortar damage at the same time. As an example, you could have Rolling Magma, which is supported by Spell Totem and the Flamewood support gem. And then your supports could be something like Immolate, Combustion, and Fire Penetration if you were going for a non-crit build, or maybe Critical Strikes, Critical Damage, and Combustion if you're going for a crit build. But the idea here is that you're kind of double dipping on the support gems, a little bit like how Cold Dot builds run 2 5-links in their 6-link body armor setup. And you can even go for Soul Mantle later on, so you'd essentially end up with a double 5-link. And this way you'd have some active damage with the Spell Totem firing off rolling magma projectiles for example, and then you'd also have the damage coming from the Flamewood support too whenever the totems get hit by enemies. And you don't even need to play Chieftain for the totems to taunt either, because the Totem Mastery has a mastery that makes it so that totems taunt enemies around them for 1 second whenever they're summoned. So you'll probably just go Hierophant and have a better time, as it will be a lot more damage. You can go Chieftain of course, especially if you want the tankier setup with the high elemental max res, and the long totem taunt and the recovery from that node as well. It's probably a better option for hardcore. Personally, I'm currently considering this type of setup on Chieftain as a league starter, although I need the patch notes before I decide anything concrete. But I like the idea of this kind of setup for hardcore solo self-found, and I'm also a totem enjoyer. On top of that, totems are great in Sanctum too, and that's coming back. And that's it. I just wanted to make this video as I've seen some discussion on this kind of build where you use the Flamewood support and then you stack totem life and you use the Torch Oak Step unique boots. But I do think that's going to be a little bit of a bait. and it's going to end up with an overly clunky playstyle where you're just kind of waiting for mobs to hit the totem. What do you think of this new Flamewood support gem? Do you have plans to league start a build making use of it? Let me know down in the comment section below. And if you've enjoyed this video, make sure to like and subscribe. Thank you to my current channel members, your support is appreciated, and thanks for watching. As always, stay tuned and stay safe.